Boo.
Oh my god, you scared me.
Don't worry, it's me, Athena.
Thank God. Hey, Spooky! What's up? It's a culture detective here investigating your favorite movies, and today I'm going to be doing a movie review on a movie that I finished watching last night at 4 a.m. in the morning, all by myself in an all dark room. And that movie is the Korean horror film The Wailing, directed by Na Hong Jin, and it is a horror film released from 2016. So yeah, I don't know. A while ago, while I was, doing a bit of a watch session on Korean films, I Saw the Devil, which I thought was okay. Not really that spectacular of a thriller or anything, especially given that old boy exists. And then somebody in the comments basically recommended me to watch The Wailing. Well, joke's on you, sir. Before your comment, I already know about this movie. So, anyways, The Wailing has been on my watch list for quite some time now, and I finally thought that I should watch it because lately I've been craving some horror because I want to watch some scary, spooky shit. So, The Wailing or Goksong is a movie about a village in rural South Korea where a policeman tries to save his daughter from some sort of demonic possession, while many other villagers uh, basically suffered demonic possession. And more weird shit starts happening. First of all, I don't think the story to this film is that groundbreaking or original or anything. I think Na Hong Jin, when he wrote this movie, you can definitely tell that there are a lot of influences from zombie movies. Like in the beginning of The Wailing, I legit thought it's gonna be a zombie movie. Especially the first 15 or 20 minutes, you just see villagers getting broken, burned skin, acting weird, eating a deer alive, and that's basically like a zombie movie. So immediately I thought it's kind of like a zombie movie. I wouldn't be surprised if, Night of the Living Dead is like an influence or something, or at least, I don't know, something more contemporary like Train to Busan. And then there's also the daughter being possessed element, which is straight out of The Exorcist. Literally, some of the story beats in this film follow The Exorcist, where we have a girl who is innocent and young and nice, and suddenly she's acting weird. She's eating a lot, she's swearing and being mean, and it's very strange. And then on top of that, we have a lot of elements and tropes that is just very common in horror films, especially in Asian horror films like Stranger Danger, a weird Japanese man in a village, which I guess I could read it as some sort of post colonial reading on, Japanese invasion and Japanese presence in South Korea, but maybe it's a bit too far of a stretch. There's also the classic Buddhism slash folk horror that inspired this film, which I really love. I really love Buddhism slash Taoism inspired horror. Even there's no Taoism here, but you know what I'm talking about. I'm usually, a sucker for these kinds of horror. Now, another thing I really like about this movie is the makeup. I know usually when the Oscars nominate costume design and production design and cinematography and editing, they seldom nominate Asian films because for some reason they just don't really acknowledge these films, and maybe the respective branches like the production design branches or the costume designer branches of the academy are just very white centric and very American centric. But honestly, this movie should have been nominated for Best Makeup. There's a lot of amazing makeup, burnt skin, dead, bloody bodies that actually look very convincing and genuinely upsetting. There's so many weird, severed animal heads and animal guts that just looks really real, and it's genuinely gross, and it's actually really well done. I can say the same thing for the production design. There are a couple of moments where we basically enter the strange Japanese man's house, where we see this altar and all these photographs and all these blood and all this weird unidentified objects, and it's so gross and weird. It's actually kind of amazing. Like, I've seen a good handful of Asian folk horror films, all the way from Incantation to 80s Hong Kong horror cult classics, but you know what? The Wailing does a really freaking good job at doing that, I have to admit. And the special effects is really good as well. There's one scene near the end of the movie where one of the characters have a nosebleed, and the nosebleed gets worse and worse. Eventually, blood just comes gushing out of the nose, and it's like two sprinklers. Like, you can see blood coming out like a waterfall, and then he starts vomiting, and you can see like white liquid starts coming out of his mouth like a waterfall, and that's really impressive. So obviously the production design of this film is really good. Also, the DP, not bad, pretty decent. So the DP of this film is Hong Kyung-po, who is the same DP as Parasite, Burning, and Broker, so he's one of the best in South Korea. I also really like how moody and atmospheric this film is. I really love it when Asian horror films sort of do that. And I guess the other thing I like about this film is the shaman character. I think he's really cool. He's very nonchalant. He just goes around yelling things, and he wears an Adidas tracksuit. I mean, he's kind of a likable character. He's just very entertaining. And I guess even though it's not that scary or groundbreaking, in my opinion, I think this film is a fun watch because it just presents you with some horror shit. It doesn't try to beat around the bush, and you just sort of get enveloped in the mystery, like what's actually happening, who's the real antagonist, and it's kind of an engaging film. It keeps you on the edge of your seat. Now, these are the pros. Now, on to the cons. First of all, the main character is a fucking idiot. When he and the priest character went up to the Japanese guy's house and beat up the house and everything, what the fuck are you doing? It's genuinely frustrating to see a main character being dumb, and I know that's part of the story and it's not like a flaw of the writing of the film, but also it is a pretty dumb cliche that I wish I could see less in horror films. I want to see smarter main characters because main characters keep putting themselves in a bad situation by being dumb, and that's only so that the plot can get worse and worse and the movie to get scarier and scarier. A main character being dumb is actually a plot device. Another thing is the movie is not that scary. I don't know why a lot of people online are like, "Oh my god, The Wailing is the first film to ever creep me up and shiver my timbers." I mean, not really. There are a couple moments in the first half of the film where I'm like, oh shit. But then the second half is just not that scary. Once you sort of figure out what's going on, it's less scary. So again, not as scary as it tries to be. Now, I'm gonna get into spoilers now. So, go to the end of the video if you want to avoid the spoilers. If you've seen it, if you've seen the film, then keep watching. So, yeah, it's been a while since I've done one of these spoiler reviews. But I want to talk about the spoilers of The Wailing. Because one thing that's keeping me from fully enjoying The Wailing is that it's not as cleverly written as I think it is. And some people online are like, "Oh my god, this is one of the craziest, most cleverly written horror film ever." Not really. I'm sorry, but not really. It is a fun horror film, don't get me wrong, but um and I really like twists and turns. Korean movies, especially modern Korean movies, have this tendency of just having tons of twists and turns for no reason. Sometimes it's really well done, sometimes it's just kind of not necessary all that much, and I can pretty much say that for The Wailing. So what The Wailing did is that the bad guy, the Japanese man, is actually a good guy, and then at the end he becomes a bad guy again. So is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? I guess we'll never know. But the thing is, right from the beginning, the movie never really tries to portray him as a bad guy. Sure, he's suspicious. His house has weird photos and weird rituals, but we also see him like run around like a human being and cry, and the movie never portrays him as this mysterious force of evil. And again, and then some people are like, oh, wait, but I don't see him being bad. Like, okay, he's good, I guess, but how in the hell is he revealed to be the devil at the end of the movie? May I remind you that in the beginning of the movie, the guy ate a living deer. So no amount of justification will justify the fact that he's crying. So when the movie reveals that he's actually a good guy, it wasn't that much of a plot twist. And when the movie reveals that he's actually a bad guy, again, it's like, okay, I kind of saw that coming. So, yeah, not really that crazy. And then there's another shaman character. As I have said earlier, he's a very entertaining character. But right off the bat, given that he's driving in a really nice car, wearing a nice suit, he doesn't seem like a stereotypical good guy. In fact, he seems like a stereotypical bad guy. And at the end, turns out he's a bad guy. So again, kind of saw that coming. And then there's the woman in white who turns out to be the good person, the good woman, I guess. But the thing is, I didn't really see it coming, but at the same time, I never really thought that she is evil or anything, because in the beginning of the movie, she basically acts like an idiot. She's throwing rocks at the main character and his colleague, and then she just disappears. She doesn't really do much until the very end of the movie, which is fine. It's nice little setup, little foreshadowing perhaps, but it's just, if this woman is really like a spirit guardian ghost of this village, shouldn't she do more in the story in the first two acts? Shouldn't why is she throwing rocks? Like, what good does that do? And also, I thought this movie would have an ambiguous ending. Some people are like, oh, I don't get this movie. It's kind of confusing. And I thought it's like confusing in a good way, like Burning, where it just doesn't end and the mystery gets deeper and deeper and the main character is just stuck in this rabbit hole that is the abyss, and it's just sort of this existential cosmic horror. But no, it's just a straightforward ending with good guys and bad guys, which again is not bad. It's just not as crazy or as groundbreaking as some people make it out to be. So yeah, overall, I think it is a really fun horror film. I think it does, atmosphere and mood really well. Great, competent production design. Really loving it. It's not the most well written thing ever, but you know what? It's fine. I've had my fun. Feeling a light 8 out of 10 on this movie. Strong 7 to a light 8. So, have you watched The Wailing? Comments below, let me know. Subscribe if you want more. And thanks for watching.